Let's get the latest now. SABC News reporter Mlondi Radebe is in Durban and joins us live now. Mlondi, thank you so much for your time this evening. We just saw a Mhlongo family very distressed as they were hoping to, at least get some news on their loved ones, and they were waiting for the body there. What can you tell us as the latest in the province?
Thank you very much, Bongi. As we are coming to you live now, the numbers have not changed so far because the police, they're saying that they are still searching for other victims that they might be lost in these areas in KwaZulu-Natal, because you remember that it's not only in Durban but also Potchefstroom, Margate, as well as when you go to northern side of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the heavy rains also affected those parts of the province. So the police, they're saying that they are still trying to get more information from the police stations in those areas to try and find if there were people who were reported missing in those areas, so that they will be able to try and also search and assist those families. But you remember that yesterday the Premier of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Tami Nduli, did say that, made a call that also the traditional leaders, they must make sure that now they start whenever they put someone in a plot, they must try and make sure that they put someone in a plot that is not prone to flooding, as we did see that most areas in rural areas as well, the flooding also occurs in those areas, especially those people that are building their homes in the valley next to the river. So the Premier is calling on the traditional leaders that they must make sure that people are put or are given plots that are safe, that will never be a problem of flooding in those areas. We understand that also in the townships and in the towns, it's also a similar problem, because you find that informal settlements are next to the rivers, and each and every time the province of KwaZulu-Natal is making a call to those people that are staying in those areas to try and find an alternative accommodation, because those areas next to the rivers, whenever there's rain, their sheds or their homes get flooded. So they've been making those calls that people must try and make sure that they are all safe during these times. And you remember that, Bongi, that the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the warnings are basically issued now and again about the rainfall. Even today, we're expecting more rain in the south coast, and in also along the coast of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, there are more rains that are expected according to the South African Weather Service, of which the people of KwaZulu-Natal are scared now. They are not sure what will happen, because if you remember that the flooding happened during the night yesterday around 10 and 3 o'clock, where the rain was falling for about 120 milliliters.
And Mlondi, when you then speak to the different residents about what's currently taking place, do they have alternative accommodation? Are they going to be able to move some of those, particularly who are in low-lying areas, to some alternative accommodation in order to be able to be out of danger?
Bongi, that one is a very difficult one, because whenever you speak to them, they tell you that they don't have an alternative accommodation, because when we spoke to other kids in the area of Kwamakuta yesterday, they did mention that the home that they stay in was built by their parents, so they don't have a financial muscle to rebuild a new home. If government can build them a new home in a safe place, then they will be able to move. But for now, they will continue to stay in the house that was built by their parents, because they don't have an alternative accommodation, of which it's one of those difficult situations, because we understand that also the Department of Human Settlement in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, they do have a challenge when it comes to accommodating the flood victims. We still talk about the flood victims of 2013 in other areas. You find that those flood victims are still accommodated by government in flats. 2022, the flood victims are still accommodated in flats in town, and the department is still trying to get plots in and around the city, whenever they try to get those plots, the residents that are next to those plots, they're taking the department to court, trying to fight the department not to place the new residents in those plots. So it's a very difficult situation when it comes to accommodating the flood victims in areas where people basically they say they don't want them.
And when we speak to our weather desk here at the SABC, they tell us about heavy rainfall that is still expected throughout the evening. Are the disaster teams coping on the ground, Mlondi?
When we speak to the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, they said that they've just basically made all the disaster teams to be on high alert in the province, because you remember that each and every municipality in the province, they do have that unit of disaster management. So they also get assisted by the private companies like your emergency services that are private, and also they are assisted by the SAPS to try and make sure that they are able to assist whoever that needs assistance during this time.